Recognizing your greatness is the first step, but owning it, vocalizing it to yourself, and celebrating it is where the true power lies. And in this video, I'll show you exactly how to do it. Hey guys, it's Lamisha Faria. Welcome back to the Sweet and Savage Show and another episode of the Art of Practicing Self-Love series. There are 3 powerful ways you can celebrate your greatness, and 3 of them are equally as important. The first way to celebrate your greatness is to recognize your incredible qualities and traits. For example, you are extremely adaptable and you can adapt to new situations pretty easily, or you are a very hard worker and you are very determined, or you are extremely resilient. No matter what has life thrown at you, you just bounced back like as if nothing even happened. It can be the fact that you are very self-motivated, you are very organized, you are someone who is very disciplined. You may be very courageous, open to take risks and try new things. You may be an independent thinker. You may be very deep-minded. Maybe you are a very good problem solver. Maybe you're not afraid to question everything and step away from the mainstream and march to the beat of your own drum. That's something that I celebrate about myself. I have the courage to do things my way and to be who I truly am. It might be the fact that you are free-spirited, or it may be also the fact that you are very good at cracking jokes. Honestly, this is something that you should celebrate about yourself because not everyone can do that. You are very witty. By the way, it's very important for you to know that humor is actually linked to intelligence in surprising ways. So if you're curious, look into the types of intelligence that many comedians tend to show, because this is something that you shouldn't overlook. It might be the fact that you are very open-minded. It might be the fact that you love learning new things and throw yourself out of your comfort zone. You're also very imaginative. It may be the fact that you are very patient. It may be the fact that you are extremely detail-oriented and you have an eye for detail, and that's one of your gifts. That's one of the traits that I absolutely celebrate about myself. It may be the fact that you go above and beyond and you always put your best in whatever it is that you do. And this is something that's worth celebrating. I don't know you. This is about you writing out and celebrating your wonderful, incredible traits and qualities. Now, this does not mean that you cannot get better at one of the specific things that you may not have right now, or it may not be as developed. For example, you may have been lazy, but it does not mean that you cannot become the most disciplined version of yourself. Or it may be the fact that you have maybe always been very impatient, but it does not mean that you cannot train and work on becoming a patient person. It does not mean the fact that just because you're an introvert that you cannot be charismatic or charming or give a presentation such as giving a TED Talk. No, it does not mean that you can be an introvert and still give presentations and be extremely good at that. And as well as I wasn't someone who used to march to the beat of my own drum. I didn't have the courage to live by my own values and to do that unapologetically and ruthlessly. I was a codependent in the past. I molded myself to be the person who everyone wanted me to be, ever since childhood up until early 16 years old. And so you can develop these things. You can actually learn how to become your most unapologetic version of yourself and being ruthless when it comes to living by your own values, even though you are absolutely scared to do that in the past. So it's just something very important that I wanted to mention. Whatever it may be, these are your qualities and traits that makes you you, that makes you different, unique, and special. And it is absolutely worth celebrating. These are the qualities and traits that makes me Lamisha Faria, and I am extremely proud of them. And I celebrate my qualities and traits that makes me me. And the reason why I felt like I didn't fit in while I was in school, because I had different values and the way that I see things, the way that and the beliefs that I have and the way that I think and learn. And when I recognized that and when I learned about that, I celebrated that. Hell yeah, why wouldn't I? When my past self, when I was in 8th grade, felt like I didn't fit in. I felt kind of unsure and bad about myself, not realizing the fact that the way that I think is so amazing and unique, and I like the way that I think. I like the way that I see the world. Celebrating yourself and all the traits and qualities that makes you you is an act of true self-empowerment, and as well as a powerful act of self-love. Celebrating your greatness, as in who you are, is part of you accepting, embracing, and loving yourself. And so we do not just accept and embrace our amazing, incredible qualities. We effing celebrate them. There is a difference between recognizing your traits and qualities that you have and who you are as a person versus you accepting, embracing, owning that, as well as celebrating that. Because that's where the true power lies. If you look at the greatest people in the history, Usain Bolt, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, not only they're talented, but they have extreme work ethic. And this is something that's worth celebrating because they wouldn't be where they are today if it wasn't for them improving and working on their talent that they were born with. And they had a never giving up mindset, and they were extremely confident and very self-motivated, and their ability to push themselves past their limits again and again. This is something that's worth celebrating. And of course, you can become this person. So keep that in mind, the fact that you can celebrate the qualities that you are born with, celebrate the qualities that makes you you, that makes you different, that makes you unique, that makes you the amazing, incredible person that you are, as well as the qualities that you have developed and worked hard on, which became a part of you, such as someone who was lazy to someone who's disciplined, going from someone who doubted themselves to being someone who is the most confident version of themselves, you becoming someone who can handle everything that comes their way with grace, patience, and confidence, going from someone who used to feel anxious to someone who can perform really well under stress. Celebrate those qualities. You have worked on it and you have developed those qualities, and they are absolutely worth celebrating because they are part of you, and those qualities makes you you, makes you the incredible, amazing person that you are, and the amazing, incredible person that you are becoming. It's your responsibility to celebrate the greatness of who you are. And you owe it to yourself to do that. The second way to celebrate the greatness of who you truly are is to recognize and celebrate your natural born intelligence and talents. I'm talking about the 9 types of intelligence proposed by Howard Gardner. While Gardner's theory highlights 9 types of intelligence, practical intelligence, though not on his list, is just as important. It's about learning by doing, solving real-world problems, and having the street smarts to navigate everyday life. By the way, you can ask ChatGPT to help you identify your types or give you detailed descriptions of each. Some of the examples of these intelligent types are verbal linguistic intelligence, logical mathematical intelligence, kinetic intelligence, as well as visual spatial intelligence, naturalist intelligence, and I'll put the correct term here. There's musical intelligence, existential intelligence. There's also interpersonal intelligence, also intrapersonal intelligence. So there's a difference, interpersonal versus intrapersonal intelligence. So these are the 9 intelligent types that you can look up online. So yeah, you can ask ChatGPT to help you with this process, or you can do it by yourself if you want to. For the longest time in the past, I kind of refrained from admitting and owning the fact that I am a talented dancer. And I used to dance when I was a kid, and it's something that I just felt so drawn towards. I mean, honestly, that's something that I didn't realize in the past. But yeah, this is something that I give myself the permission to celebrate, as well as I have a very high verbal linguistic intelligence. Something that I also pretty much celebrate about myself. If I learn things my way, then I can learn languages pretty fast. And of course, I have other intelligent types, but this is just an example that I give you. Maybe you're a very talented athlete and you don't even recognize the fact that that's one of your talent that you were born with, and you have high kinetic intelligence. It may be the fact that you are musically very intelligent. Maybe you're amazing at architecture or designs, and you have an eye for detail and aesthetic. That's also something worth celebrating. It's part of visual spatial intelligence. Like, think back when you were a child and look at all the ways or areas or aspects or different activities that you were very drawn towards and inspired by, because these are part of your natural born intelligence and talents. Based on your natural intelligences and talents, there are areas where you naturally thrive or pick things up faster. And when you combine that with hard work, you can truly become exceptional and you can become a beast, the GOAT, the best of the best at what you do in your field. Something very important that I want you to keep in mind, which is that you can be born with this intelligence and your natural talents. However, let's say you are not so developed in one of the area. For example, I can take math as an example. If you're not so developed when it comes to math, then it does not mean that you cannot get better at it. I have watched YouTube videos from people who sucked at math before, but have gotten really good at math. Just because you suck at dancing doesn't mean that you can never be good at or great at dancing. I mean, yes, it may take some time and more work than someone who's naturally talented at dancing. However, if you put in the work, you can also become a great dancer. However, it is extremely important that you do own and celebrate your natural born intelligence and talents. Because in our society, part of the education system, only verbal linguistic intelligence and logical mathematical intelligence is celebrated. However, all the other intelligence types are thrown out the window because the education system doesn't see the value in it, doesn't see the beauty in it, doesn't see the power in those other intelligent types. And that's a big problem. And it has left many students feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough. It has left so many students to not see their talents, their greatness. And I was one of those students who didn't see my greatness, and I felt bad, and I felt insecure, and I didn't celebrate the fact that I didn't fit in, that I was born to be different. But of course, when I started my self-love journey, I celebrated that. But you see, that's the power of you practicing self-love, is that when you practice self-love and when you celebrate the greatness of who you truly are, you stop being insecure, comparing yourself to other people, feeling ashamed of your differences. Instead, you celebrate your differences and your uniqueness, and you see the power in it. You see the beauty in it. The third way to celebrate your greatness is to celebrate something that you have worked hard at, which maybe you have achieved one of your dreams, one of your goals, or a skill where you have worked really hard to improve. This is also something that's worth celebrating and something that you should celebrate as well, because it is a skill that you've worked hard towards improving and you became great at it. Because we don't want to downplay, dismiss, or ignore when we have worked so hard towards improving a skill of ours. So of course, everyone knows that you should celebrate when you achieve a big dream of yours or when you achieve a goal of yours. Of course, however, it can also be a skill, something where you have worked really hard towards improving and you got really good at it. This is something that a lot of people don't talk about, but it is something that's absolutely worth celebrating. It is part of who you are now. It is part of your greatness now. And everything that's part of who you are, part of your greatness, is worth celebrating. I saw my potential that I could teach about self-love. And at that time, I wanted to become great at teaching people about self-love. I didn't want to be mediocre at it. I wanted to be great. I worked hard. and I actively worked on improving my skill as a teacher, and I've seen the gaps and contradictions in how self-love is taught and talked about, and I've learned about every single one of the misconceptions about self-love that there is from my own experience, and as well as the misconceptions that other people have about self-love. In the last 6 years and 1 month, I have worked towards investing my time and energy towards this goal. And I cannot become a great teacher if I'm not a great student. And so I invested in my own journey, time and energy into my own growth and learning. Fast forward to where I am right now, I can truly say that I have achieved this goal of mine to be great at what I do. I recognize my own greatness that I've worked so hard for. However, yes, I admit and I own the fact that I am great at what I do at teaching people about self-love. However, and I'm always learning and evolving as a human being, and I have an open mind towards discovering new insights and epiphanies and learning new lessons about self-love. To be a great teacher, I need to be a great student. And to be a great student means to have an open mind, to never stop learning. And this is the mentality that I embrace. However, just because I'm a human being and always evolving and growing doesn't mean that I cannot celebrate the greatness of who I am right now and the greatness that I have worked so hard for. Because perfection doesn't exist. And yes, as human beings, we are growing and evolving, and we will continue to do that. But it doesn't mean that I don't deserve to celebrate the greatness of who I am right now and the greatness that I have worked so hard for. Absolutely not. I deserve to celebrate the greatness that I've worked hard for and to celebrate the greatness of who I am. This is a truth that I want you to remember. Something very important that I also want to mention is the fact that majority of the people won't be able to celebrate the greatness of who they truly are because they are a people pleaser or a codependent, and they have been betraying themselves and living life and being the person who everyone expects them to be. As well as when you have a toxic relationship with yourself. When you are being the person that your parents wants you to be. When you are part of a religion that your parents wants you to be a part of. When you are following a career path that your parents wants you to follow. For example, you are an engineer when there is an artist inside of you waiting to express itself through you. When you suppress who you truly are and you are lying to yourself, you can never celebrate the greatness of who you truly are. You are suppressing all the qualities that makes you you. When I had my spiritual awakening and I kind of sort of became an ex-Muslim already, but I kind of didn't make it official. So I was already discovering my viewpoints and my own beliefs instead of the beliefs that I was imposed on by my parents. And oh boy, it became so clear to me that I am so different than the person who my parents wanted me to be. When I was betraying myself, when I was suppressing who I truly am, because I was so scared of disappointing my parents and pissing them off, that being my true self was the last thing that I wanted to do. I also didn't love myself, so there's that. So no wonder why, which is the reason why if you are a people pleaser or a codependent, or you have a toxic relationship with yourself, you cannot celebrate the greatness of who you truly are. Which is the reason why I invite you to start your self-love journey, as well as start the journey towards discovering your authentic self. Let's get to the fun part, which is the celebration. Now, I have some simple actionable tips that you can do, starting off with the first one, which is you can have a date with yourself to celebrate your greatness. Absolutely. A toast to yourself. It's like just like how people celebrate their birthdays or when they hit a big milestone or when they have achieved their dreams or a goal of theirs. Just like that, you can take a day off and have a date with yourself to celebrate your greatness of who you are and the greatness that you have worked hard for. If you do not know how to have a date with yourself or how to go on a date with yourself, then check out the video in the description box down below where I talked about how to have a date with yourself, either for Valentine's Day, birthdays, or just in general. In our case, for celebrating ourselves. I shared so many fun ideas on how you can have an amazing date with yourself. So check it out. You can have a whole day dedicated to you celebrating the greatness of who you are and the greatness that you have worked hard for and basking in your glory and in your greatness. A whole day for that. You can do that. If you say, Lamisha, can I also do it other ways without me going on a date or having a whole day dedicated to myself? Of course you can do that. You do not need a whole day dedicated to yourself to celebrate your greatness. I do recommend that, especially if you've never done that or it's just something you don't prioritize. Like, yes. Hallelujah. Seriously, you celebrate birthdays. Why shouldn't you celebrate the greatness of who you are? I highly recommend you to do that. However, if you're currently busy, you don't need a whole day dedicated to yourself to do that. The second actionable step towards celebrating your greatness is you taking a piece of paper or your notebook and writing everything down, admiring and being grateful for the amazing qualities that you have and describing it in detail about what you find so amazing about it. Why is it so incredible? The beauty and the power of what makes you you. The qualities that makes you you. It's just like writing a love letter. You're going to write out the traits and qualities that makes you you, that makes you unique, that makes you different, that makes you the incredible, amazing person that you are. By the way, you can also celebrate the qualities that you have worked towards developing, such as you value being your most unapologetic version of yourself and you are ruthless, unapologetic, not afraid to speak your truth. This is a quality that you have developed and you are really proud of that. Then you should absolutely celebrate that and write all about that. Moving on to the next part, which would be you writing down your natural born intelligence and your talents and being proud of yourself for that and seeing the beauty and power and greatness in your natural born talents and gifts and intelligence. And last but not least, writing down the greatness that you have worked so hard at, whether it is you have achieved a dream of yours, a goal of yours, the skill that you have improved and gotten really good at, great at. So you can write it down in full details. I am so proud of myself that I have achieved my dreams. I have worked hard at this. I didn't give up even though these situations have challenged me, so on and so forth. About your journey towards achieving that dream and as well as the skill that you have improved. It can also be something like you have worked hard towards releasing perfectionism. This is something that I am working towards, and I am challenging myself actively towards releasing and letting go my perfectionism. So this is something that you can also celebrate and write down. So you can celebrate the greatness of who you truly are, as in your authentic self, as well as your natural born intelligence and talents, and the greatness that you have worked hard at, which is achieving a dream of yours or a goal of yours, as well as improving a skill. What's a skill that you have improved and got great at? What skills have you mastered or are on your way towards mastering? And along with that, you can celebrate who you are becoming, the skills that you are developing, and the greatness that you are working towards, unleashing more of your greatness to the world. You can also celebrate that. Who you are right now, what you have achieved, as well as who you're becoming, and the skills that you are developing on the process of getting there, and what you are achieving on a daily basis. You can also absolutely celebrate that, as in showing up and becoming that person that you want to become, your dream self. If there's anything that you've overcome, like an obstacle or an addiction, or you've healed from a traumatic experience, then it's absolutely worth celebrating that, because it is part of your greatness, because it was your traits and qualities that made you overcome that obstacle, that made you overcome that addiction, or the fact that you took full responsibility and healed from that traumatic experience instead of letting that trauma make you feel powerless. Now that is also part of your greatness. Now, the second actionable step that you can take towards celebrating your greatness is to practice mirror work. Now, this is a written version of you vocalizing everything about your greatness to yourself in front of the mirror, but it has a slightly different impact. I'm not going to go that deep into the power of mirror work in today's video. I'll film another video about that. To practice mirror work, you're going to stand in front of the mirror and you're going to look at yourself into your eyes. This is very important because you are connecting with yourself. So look at yourself, look into your eyes directly, and you are going to celebrate your greatness by repeating positive statements to yourself, by affirming and validating and celebrating your greatness. And this practice will look like this. I celebrate the fact that I am so disciplined, hardworking, and so determined and laser focused. I celebrate the fact that I'm so good at organizing. I celebrate the fact that I'm such a free spirit and I look at the world with so much wonder. I celebrate my courage to be my authentic self, even though I was hated, judged harshly for being myself. I celebrate how self-assured I am, how confident I am, how expressive I am, how bluntly honest I am, that I'm not afraid to speak my truth, regardless of what anyone else says. I am celebrating, I am owning and celebrating the fact that yes, I am an HSP. I am highly sensitive. And there are so many beautiful qualities that came with me being an HSP. I am owning and celebrating the fact that I'm an introvert. There are so many wonderful, beautiful qualities that I have. I celebrate the fact that I'm such a fashionista. Even though my style may not be trendy, but I own it and I celebrate it because I find it unique and special and amazing and cool. I'm so talented when it comes to numbers and charts and math. I'm so talented when it comes to learning new languages. I am celebrating how good I am at communicating. I'm such an amazing communicator. I am so proud of myself for mastering this skill, even though that was one of my weakness and I sucked at it, but I became great at it. I am so proud of myself that I am working towards mastering the skill and I am getting better and better every single day. I am so proud to be Lamisha Faria. I don't want to be anybody else but the most unapologetic, confident, empowered version of myself. And I recognize and I own and I celebrate who I am. And hell yeah, I'm talented at this. Hell yeah, I'm so great at this. I am celebrating that without shame, without feeling like it's arrogance, because it's self-love and it's self-validation and it's self-recognition. To recognize, own, and celebrate your greatness of who you are and what you've worked hard towards. So this is how you celebrate your greatness in front of the mirror. Look at yourself in front of the mirror, put your hands on your heart, and tell yourself, I truly give myself the permission to recognize, own, and celebrate my greatness. And as you say this phrase, feel it within your body. I highly recommend you to practice mirror work to celebrate your greatness because it's really powerful. Another way you can celebrate your greatness without you standing in front of the mirror is you just repeating and affirming and validating your greatness to yourself throughout the day as you do mundane tasks like cleaning or taking a shower, or even when you are taking a walk, you can repeat to yourself in your mind, I give myself the permission to own and celebrate my greatness. Like, hell yeah, I am so good at this. Like, yeah, I'm so proud of myself that I am this way, that I think this way, that I am different in this way, and basking in this energy while you repeat it to yourself. Like, yes, I have improved my skill and I've gotten so good at what I do. Like, oh my gosh, I have mastered the skill. I deserve to recognize, own, and celebrate that and celebrate my greatness, how great I am. Like, the way that I do things is so amazing. You can describe it in your mind and bask in this energy as you go along, do mundane tasks, and so on and so forth. This is something that I've done a couple of times and I really liked it, so I thought I'll share with you. Because the key to programming your subconscious mind is repetition. And because you had a toxic relationship with yourself and a negative relationship with yourself where you didn't see your greatness, where you felt like it was arrogance to reclaim your greatness, to celebrate it. However, through stepping into a new identity and building a healthy, loving relationship with yourself, and through repetition, you are reprogramming your subconscious mind and you are showing yourself the evidence of the new identity that you have stepped into, which is that of someone who celebrates their greatness with confidence, who knows the fact that this is self-love, powerful act of self-love, and not arrogance. The fact that you owe it to yourself to celebrate your greatness and to do that unapologetically. This is who you are right now. This is your new identity. And by you affirming that, validating that to yourself as you go along, taking a walk or in the shower or cleaning, you are validating yourself and your greatness and recognizing your greatness and owning that. And as well as, of course, through writing and through Mirrorwork, you can do that. And that's also a powerful way to celebrate your greatness. And something else that I give myself the permission to do, which is to bask in my glory and in my greatness. Be in this energy. Sit with that. Reflect about that. Think about that. Put on music and dance. Be in this energy of you celebrating your greatness, of who you are, and of what you've worked hard at. In today's society, we consume so many things and information, but we don't allow ourselves to process any of that. Give yourself the time to reflect about that, to sit with that, to integrate that. There's the word, integrate. That's what I was looking for. It's very important that you allow yourself to integrate this energy, to embody it, to immerse yourself in celebrating your greatness. So give yourself the permission to bask in this energy, whether by playing your favorite music, which is something that I really like to do. And I close my eyes, listen to music, and bask in my greatness, and allow myself to celebrate my greatness by doing that. Or I dance. You can turn on your favorite music and you can dance to celebrate your greatness, celebrating the greatness of who you are, as well as the greatness that you've worked hard for. You can light a candle at night and look at the moon and just be quiet and bask in this energy of celebration, self-validation, and self-recognition and self-love. Celebrate the fact that you are allowing yourself to finally celebrate your greatness after all of these years where you didn't allow yourself to recognize, own, and celebrate your greatness. Whereas in the past you have felt insecure and you compared yourself to other people. Give yourself the permission to now truly be proud of yourself for taking this step. Recognizing, owning, and celebrating the greatness of who we are is a powerful act of self-love. Reclaim your power and celebrate your greatness. Take all the time that you need. You are effing amazing, incredible, and great. And you deserve to celebrate that. And I feel like people are so used to dimming their light, their greatness, to the point that when they actually allow themselves to bask in their glory and greatness, and if you feel arrogant or like you are being cocky when you are celebrating your greatness, then I'll link the video down in the description box down below where I talked about celebrating your greatness isn't arrogance, it's self-love, and everything that you need to know about that topic. And I went really deep into that aspect. And I also talked about the reason why you feel ashamed and scared to own and celebrate your greatness. So check that video out because it will really help you to confidently and unapologetically recognize, own, and celebrate your greatness. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next episode of the Art of Practicing Self-Love series. Bye.